Hi, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we're going to go over the PPS Foundation Bursary for the year 2024. So let's get into it and let's proceed. So firstly, let's go to our browser. Obviously, I'm using Chrome, so let's open up a new tab. And in the URL box, we're going to search PPS Bursary Application 2024. So let's click on that. Then we will be presented with this search page, which we can obviously see on the first link or hyperlink we'll obviously use, which will obviously have this particular website or name, Professional Provident Society, and we'll click on the Bursary program hyperlink. So let's click on that. Then we will be presented with the PPS website bursary section, and then we can just navigate or scroll downward and we can read the following where it says PPS Foundation Bursary application portal has now opened for the 2024 academic year. The application process will close on Monday the 15th January 2024, and then we can click here where it says to gain access to the application portal. But before we do that, let's just make sure we are familiar with any queries and so forth. So for any queries, or you can obviously email info@ppsfoundation@pps.co.za, and you can click on this particular section for the terms and conditions of this particular bursary. So let's get into the application process. So let's click here to apply. Okay. So before we even start with the application, the system or the website gives you like a reminder or a banner to say just have these particular information available whilst you are obviously completing the application, and these are the following. Please have the following documentation available: certified copy of ID not older than 3 months, proof of household income, which is now should be an affidavit from parents if unemployed, payslip if employed, and death certificate if deceased, and then your certified matric certificate. For matriculants that have not received the result, I know it's coming out on the 19th of January, so you would not have your matric certificate by then. Please keep your grade 12 September results or academic results on hand, because I think you might have to use that particular information on the system or the application to proceed. Okay. Then it says returning applicant. I'm a returning applicant, and would I like to reapply? No, I'm not a returning applicant, so I'm going to say no because I'm applying for the first time. Okay. So once we've done with those two particular banners, we can scroll downwards and then we can see the following 7 headings or chapters or sections. So the first one will have the terms and conditions. The second one will be the previous bursaries. Third one will be the personal information. Fourth will be tertiary studies. Fifth will be employment. Sixth will be the parent or guardian details. And last will be the attachments. Okay. So let's get into it. So just a recap or a review to make sure that we are all eligible and we understand the terms and conditions of this bursary. So all applicants must be SA citizens with a government issued ID book or card. In line with the Founders Transformation Agenda, preference is given to historically disadvantaged, financially deserving individuals, Africans, Coloureds and Indians, meaning if you belong to that particular group, you will be given preference. Also, preference will be given if you are studying towards a STEM field, which is science, technology, engineering and maths degree, which are considered scarce and critical both in the financial sector and more broadly across the country. A proportion of the funding may be provided to humanities students, up to a maximum of 15% of the funding available. Funding is provided to applicants whose household income is from R0 to 600,000 per annum. Only applicants studying or enrolled at a public SA institutions of higher learning will qualify, which means universities and universities of technology. Qualifying applicants are funded from first year through to honours level, which is great. PPS Foundation strives to fund all qualifying students comprehensively, including tuition, books, accommodation, meals at a selected and official university residence. It is a condition of the PPS Bursary Foundation for all successful first-year students to attend on-campus contact support sessions as facilitated by PPS Foundation from time to time. All recipients of the PPS Bursary or Foundation or Scholarship are required to submit their statement of academic results at the end of each semester as soon as these are available. Failure to do so may result in fees being withheld. And lastly, I hereby agree and specifically give consent to the PPS Foundation for purposes of processing, including but not limited to obtaining, sharing, and retaining records of my personal information related to this particular application. So we're going to click on this particular banner or tick box just to make sure we do agree with the terms and conditions. Then the second one is just a copy act and so forth to make sure the information we share on the system will not be abused or shared with any other third party, and that PPS will adhere to the POPI Act. So we obviously can read this, but most times we can just click on this particular box there to say that we actually do agree and give consent to PPS. And then just a final reminder once more before we start the application that we need to have the following documentations: certified copy of ID, academic transcripts, current academic year or proof of registration, salary slips, affidavits regarding unemployment, etc., university financial statements from student finance, pro forma invoices for books, and lease agreements for private accommodation. Okay? Say next. So in this particular section now, we are navigating to the second section, which is previous bursaries. So they asked the question, previous bursaries, have you previously received a bursary from PPS? So we're going to say no. If you did, you obviously say yes and you'll put in the actual amount, but if it's your first time seeing this particular bursary and applying for it, it would be no. Then you're going to say 0. Do you have any relatives or close relationships with any of the PPF staff or directors? If it's going to be first time applicant, you're going to say no. And then if yes, obviously you'll put a particular name and so forth. So we'll say next. So now we're going to move over to the third section, which is personal information. So let's continue. So the title will be Mr. My name, I'm going to put in ABC. Surname will be DEF. ID number, make sure I'll just put some 13 digits in. Okay. So if we get to this particular section where it says university student number, so many students don't have access to the matric result. I know it's coming out on the 19th of January. And by that means that universities don't have access to that result. So it's difficult for universities to kind of send students or potential students their notice of acceptance and so forth, so you wouldn't have a student number at a particular moment in time. So you're just going to put 0 in that particular section. Home language, mine is English. I am a male, so I'll select male. Colored, I am a colored. My nationality would be South African. And then I don't have disability, so I'm going to say no. Then moving forward, my personal contact details. So office number, I don't have a home number, but I'll just give my cell phone number as per normal. So I'm going to put a fake number in for now. So my cell phone number and office number would be the same. Email address, I'll just say abcdef@gmail.com. Okay. Street number, I'm going to say number 10, Freedom. And suburb, I'm going to just say Gardens, City, Cape Town. Postal code would be 081, and then my country code would be ZA. Then they ask now the institution contact details. So now you would go to the institution you applied for. So let's say I'm applying at UWC. I'm now going to go to the contact section of the university's website, and you'll see at the bottom I can get access to the university's address, number, email, and so forth. So let's go back and forth. So let's say for the email, info@uwc.ac.za. So email address, info, office number wouldn't be 021959, 021959, 2911. And then the street number, they don't have a street number, so I'll just say 1 because it's just a major road, Robert Sobukwe Road. Okay, city would be Belleville, and a postal code would be then 7535. 7535, and then the country code would be ZA, which is incorrect, so I can say next. And now we're moving over to the tertiary studies, and this is now where we need to include the information regarding the studies or the career that we've applied for. So institution, I'm obviously going to look for UWC, which is University of the Western Cape. And then my qualification, let's say I am going to do honors in industrial psychology, BA, right? And then for which academic year are you applying for this bursary? It will be the first year I'm applying for, or let's say I'm not doing honors, let's say I'm not doing a normal degree, let's say computer science, okay? Then for which year are you applying for the bursary? It will be my first year. And for which calendar year are you applying for a bursary? It will be 2024. So it says here, please attach current matric or latest tertiary academic record to date. Okay. Then if you are, let's say you are in second year, you wouldn't put your first year average in. But since you're applying for the first year of your studies, you would not have any particular percentages or averages in this particular section. Okay. Then if you have any other achievements besides academic, sports, hobbies or awards, I would recommend that you inserted years. I'm going to say ABC, ABC, and ABC. So this is not compulsory, but this particular section does kind of give your application more strength and more confidence, and can give you more preference, because it shows that you're not just academically inclined, but you're more on a social structure, that you have awards, you are good in sports, you are good in certain interests, which obviously is just good for you to overall develop yourself. Then we can click on next. Then now we're moving over to section 5, which means employment. Now I ask the question, current employment? No, I'm not employed. I will be a full-time student. And if I was employed, I would need to state by who or which company I'm employed at. Then if you have taken out any loans for studying and so forth, then you need to obviously include this particular section here, all the information regarding the loans. But since I've not taken out any loans, I don't need to complete this section, so I can just skip that. And then they also ask the question, please provide details of bursaries or sponsorships received. I have not received any bursaries in the past, so I will then just say nothing, and I will just obviously proceed as normal and leave this section open as per normal. Okay. Then lastly, they obviously ask bursary or sponsorship financial requirements. This is now where you need to go and do some research in terms of the field of study that you are obviously intending to pursue, and you need to put in the actual amount in terms of the fees. So let's say for the first year my fees would be 38,000. My books would be 7.5 for the year. Accommodation fee might be 45, or let's say 55,000 a year. Meal allowance might be 20,000 rand per month for the year, which means every month you get 2,000 rand worth of meal vouchers or cash. And then I also said here, please note approval is dependent on invoices received. Okay, so make sure when you do some research or when you go to university or you email them that they give you some form of like a pro forma invoice and a breakdown of costs, just for the PPS administrators to be familiar with that the information on the system is the same as what you're submitting as the document as proof. Okay, next, then moving over to section 6. This is now where we just put in our parent or guardian details. So parent, I'll go with let's say my father, Mr., and then his would be then, let's say JKL, surname MNO, and then date of birth. Let's say my father was born in 1970. Let's do this. Let's 1970, let's say April or March 12th. Okay, cell phone number, again we have to include. And then if my father is employed, I would say then obviously full-time employed. If he's unemployed, I would say unemployed. If he's self-employed, I would say self-employed. But let's say he's unemployed at the moment. Occupation, unemployed. Income is in 0 Rand to 200,000. So it will be the lowest you'll select for your parent being unemployed. So let's say you have our mom. So I'll put my mom in spell. Name PQU. Surname. The surname must kind of be the same. N and O. Date of birth. Let's go the same. 1970 April. Let's go 21. Cell phone number. My mom is, let's say in this particular example, my mom is also unemployed, so we're going to say unemployed, occupation, unemployed, and then the income would be 0 to 200,000. Okay, and this is now where we need to motivate in terms of why we need the funding and what makes me different to other applicants, or what makes me different and credible and to receive a particular funding. So now you're kind of giving your best motivation for the funding. So if you go on to Google and you search motivational letters, you'll get some form of idea in terms of what you can insert. But most of the times the motivation, kind of keep it linked to academic strengths, your social strengths, what impact or you can have on a community and on the field of study, and then any projects or new inventions or methodologies you want to obviously pursue with the field of study. So let's take an example, you're doing computer science. Then in your motivation, you want to say, I'm doing this particular degree or course because I want to develop a certain section of computer science, or I want to develop a new system or a new computer program which I have interest in. So this will kind of tie in with your application to make sense. Okay, right, that you are studying computer science, or you want to study computer science, your motivation is linked to computer science and what you want to have an impact on and what you want to introduce. It will kind of just strengthen your application. So just keep that in mind when you do this particular motivational section. Okay, I'll just put some letters in there, ABC. Next, and now we are at the last section, which says attachments, and now we need to obviously attach all the relevant information as required. Okay, so we'll see certificate ID, all in 3 months. So we'll put in the ID there. We click on this particular section, choose now. Full financial statement of account of university letterhead from the inception of your current qualification. As you can see, it's not required at the moment. So when you see this field is required, these 3 at the bottom is not required at the moment. So full academic transcript or result on university letterhead, which you don't have yet, and proof of registration for current academic year. You have not registered yet, so you don't have that at the moment. Then your proof of household income affidavit from parents. So here you'll obviously include your dad's payslip or mom's payslip. Since my parents in this particular example are unemployed, I'll go to the police station, get an affidavit and declare that my parents don't have any income. We are surviving on social grants or whatever the case may be. Then certified matric certificate. Here we don't have matric certificate yet, but we'll include or upload our grade 12 September results, so kind of keep that in mind. Then if you have a reference letter or motivation letter from a leader, a dean or priest or HOD, I would suggest you add that. Then contact details for university technical and finance department. See, this is not actually now required, so you don't need to actually put this in, but I would rather choose this one, a reference letter, which is always good to strengthen your motivation for the bursary. Okay, these are also not required at the moment, but it's always good to include these. So if you have access to university emails or contact person there, please ask them for the invoices for the university or a breakdown for university residents and for the academic year, the cost of it, and include it there. And then also regarding the books, if they can kind of give you a breakdown of what the cost of the books would be and what books you would need, then you can just do your research by going to a bookstore and getting a quote from a bookstore in terms of what books you would need and so forth. Okay, and then you would obviously click on this particular section. The outcome of the application will be communicated to you in due course. I, A, B, C, D, F hereby declare that I understand and accept the Bursary terms and conditions, and that all the above information applied to PPS Foundation is true and correct. In the event of assistance being granted, I am prepared to enter into a required agreement with the company in terms of the Bursary conditions. From there onwards, you click on finish if you are confident and satisfied that what you've uploaded or inserted on the system or website is factual. I hope this video was insightful, it was short, and also it provided much guidance and relief for you applying for this particular bursary. Please like, subscribe, and leave me some comments on this video on other bursaries you want me to assist with, and I wish you all of the best.